Welcome everybody online. This is the Centerville Community School District. This is a regular board meeting on February 13th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. in the Centerville admin offices. We'll start with our board mission statement that all students will learn well, become lifelong learners, and contribute positively to society. We'll call the regular board meeting to order with a roll call, please.
Moore is absent. Mike Thomas is absent. Bob Thomas.
Here.
Shondell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Liskis.
Here. So, I think everybody can make it. So we got, went out with kind of some health issues and stuff. People are out, and Mike's on his schedule has changed a little bit. So, I just want to emphasize the point, everybody's really, really good about usually calling in if you can't make it, but this was today when we knew that two would be out and we need four for a quorum. If you gotta be out for some reason, that's fine. Just a reminder, be vigilant about just calling and let somebody know so we can plan ahead. So, and we'll wish Mike Thomas's health to recover quickly. With that, I'd like to welcome any visitors. I don't see any in the room. There may be some online, I don't know, but I'll go ahead and read our public comment statement that we do before every meeting. We'll now open up the floor for public comment. I want to remind all speakers that while there is an open forum for any issues, the board does expect speakers to maintain a civil tone and refrain from profanity. I also want to remind all speakers that any comments that may be made during public comments are done so at the risk of the person making the comment, and that the district will not be responsible for defamatory or potentially defamatory statements which may be made about a particular person. It's the board's practice not to engage or respond to speakers during the public comment session, regardless of the topic and or the concern. The board wishes to further discuss or address an item raised by the public comment will do so by establishing an agenda item in a future board meeting. At their time, are there any public comments that wish to be made? Hearing none and seeing none, because none are in the room, we'll move on to the agenda. I'd like a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
No changes in it? Okay, so moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The agenda is approved. Approved meetings of previous business meetings. They were in the board packet.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meetings of the previous minutes. The minutes of the previous meetings, all in favor, signify by aye. All opposed? Meetings are approved. There is no old business. We'll move on to new business. The first thing is to approve the preschool secure entry bid and contract. That contract was in your board packet, and it was like $73,000. We had one bid. This is actually good news for me because I think earlier summertime this could be like $125,000 or something like that. So this is a surprising good news for Mark. You got anything on that one?
Well, so I think the bid was in the packet, right?
Yeah.
Then this AIA document on your spots is the actual contract. Because we worked with Allers and Cooney, Lisa worked with Allers and Cooney to make sure that we had a contract that we're able to sign as a school district and had them get the right language used. Anything to add to that?
No, just that they sent it back this afternoon
Okay.
with that, and so it was good to go.
In the board packet, I think they put the surety bond and so forth in there, so that's all.
But those are two separate items, right?
We're gonna take them as one, I think we're taking them as one action item.
Yeah.
We're doing it one, even though the agenda says two?
The Howard roof is.
Oh, I misread, I'm
No,
sorry.
you're
okay.
I get
You
it.
know,
You got me going there for a second, okay.
It is kind of weird that there's two construction
Yeah,
things right in a row like that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, so this would be for Christner contracting for $73,205 to redo the vestibule into, for a more secure entry into the preschool. Any questions on that one?
So move.
Second.
You're moving to approve the contract?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for Christner, contract for $73,205. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Contract is approved. The next item,
We need to table that item.
we need a table, this one? We don't have the documents from, okay. So we will table this item We'll have to move that into old business, which we really do. We were waiting, we published the agenda, thinking we were gonna get the contract, information from FRK, and just they didn't have time to put it together, so that is gonna move into old business on our next meeting. Okay. Approve the early notification incentive list. That list came out, there's one name that was added, so you should have an updated copy here. And Mark, is there anything you want to say?
So to speak to that name being added, actually, that was one of the first few that we received. That was just because that person is in the administrative category. We had that listed somewhere else, and we just hadn't got it onto this document before we shared it to you. So I apologize for that. We just kind of list things out in some different spots and missed that one
Just
there.
my ear.
That's all good, it was both of us.
So again, this is the $1,500 that we are saying we appreciate that everybody went ahead and told us earlier so we can start the recruiting process. Just as a, I guess a point of order, you can't do an early retirement and early notification the same year. So you can do one or the other. So obviously this is something that is at a lower cost to taxpayers to do it this way, and it should help Mark get a jump on hiring and getting the staffing right for next school year. So,
And of those positions, we've already got in some of those areas, some applicants for the anticipated openings. So like, it's served its purpose, and I think publicly, I just personally would like to thank the people who knew that they were moving on for letting us know early, so that we can do that for the sake of our kids and find good people.
yeah, I think this is a good strategy that worked really well for everybody, so. Okay,
Some good experience in there too, that we wanna recognize and appreciate for their time in our district.
yeah. Because there are two retirements.
Well,
Or no, there's
One.
one retirement.
Yep.
Sorry, one retirement. Joy Jones is retiring, so.
she's done good things for our district, so we really appreciate her time with us.
So, and I think, Joy, if that's you up on the screen up there, we do want to thank you for your long-standing dedicated service to the district, so thank you very much. I'm just going off the fact that there's a Joy on the screen, so.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions about the list, or any discussion? Okay. Motion.
So move. Motion to approve early incentive.
Motion and second to approve the early notification incentive list. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed? Very good. All right, so this is kind of an interesting one, the memorandum of understanding with Indian Hills Community College. You did get that document in your board packet about the career college transition coach, is that what it's called, CCTC?
Yep.
Go ahead, Mark. why don't you
Okay,
tell
so
us
I have to tell you, I'm really excited about this one. This is a position that going into this year, the state had added to the sharing, operational sharing dollars that the district can get. And it's a person to be in the high school counseling office that's specifically aimed at helping students, juniors and seniors, to make career goals and to help enroll for different colleges, to help if they're gonna go to the military, to help find out what all they need to do for that. In our looking for that, I was hoping to find a sharing partner out there that maybe we could add something like this and be able to afford it. It just so happens that it fell into our lap that Indian Hills is hiring and has hired the last few years in different districts. I think Davis County and Moulton are in on one of these with Indian Hills. They're hiring a person and then sharing it to 3 districts. So the nice thing about that, I believe in the packet, it's got the like year 1 cost, year 2 cost. I think we shared that piece, right? So what essentially it will do is, this is gonna be at the cost of the sharing dollars that we'll get. So to share a person in a role like this, you get 2 student count. They're gonna charge us that amount for our spot in it. And when we talked with the Indian Hills folks, Brad and I, we'll get 2 days a week of this person. And they'll work with our juniors and seniors, and they're also able to work some with first-time college, like if no one in their family's gone to college before and they're freshman and sophomore, just to kind of help springboard that a little bit. They are not only there to enroll students in Indian Hills, so I think that was a question that we wanted answered. Not that Indian Hills is bad, we like Indian Hills a lot, but we wanna know that kids are also receiving help for, if they wanna go to, obviously Iowa State, would be a great option.
Co-college.
College is a fantastic choice as well, I believe, yes. If they wanna go into the military, if they wanna go into an apprenticeship. So this person will help make connections to some of those different, services that are out there for that, help connect them to scholarships that are in that area, help them look at their high school plan and, well, if you wanna do this job, these are some electives that you should probably have for that. And they'll work really closely with our school counselors, so, you know, the Indian Hills will hire the person, but I did ask and they'll allow us to kind of have some feedback with them and try to help find a person that'll meet our kids' needs. So this is something they've been very successful other places with, I just didn't know that we'd be able to get in on it with them.
Will they come to us or will we?
They'll come to us. Yeah, they'll come to us, so 2 days a week, at least that's what they're looking at right now. So there's 2 other districts that this person will be shared to. Because they haven't signed an agreement, I think it's probably not best for me to publicly say that the 2 that they are talking to with that, but they're smaller districts. So we would get 2 days and they would each, it sounds like, get 1 day, from what the gal told me. I think it's a win-win for us, and as long as sharing dollars are a thing, which those got extended to 2034, I think, with the SSA bill or with the voucher bill, I forget which one. So, you know, that's quite a while into the future that the sharing dollars exist to help pay for this.
Any questions or discussion on it? If not, would somebody like to make a motion one way or the other on this?
So move.
Move to approve?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding with Indian Hills for a college and career transition counselor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is approved for the memorandum of understanding. Next thing is approve personal business procedures is listed in under item E in your board packet.
Do we need to pull Joy out, do that separate, because we're gonna give her a lifetime pass and.
We could probably do a lifetime pass separately from that.
Okay.
It's good for me to have on my notes to make sure that,
Make sure she gets that.
yeah,
Or you could, with the motion, and give her the lifetime pass if you want to.
Okay.
So, any discussion on those items? If not, somebody'd like to make a motion?
Motion to approve item E as presented in the board packets. And providing Joy Jones lifetime pass.
Okay.
And a letter of.
Letter of appreciation.
And letter of appreciation.
I think that should be the standard thing we do, yeah. Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second to approve all personnel business matters that listed in the board packet. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passed. Again, Joy, thank you so much for your service to the district. Financial reports, there's things in your packet, some bills on your desk. And to me, this is my favorite part of that's what I went through, so. Let's see if we're on track on spending for general fund. Any questions on any of the bills, any of the financial reports?
I just had a question, I was just curious, and I'm sure I could have called up here and got the answer. On the books with Indian Hills, I was kind of curious on that $78,000,
Yeah.
what that was.
Oh, that's tuition. That's,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Did it say books? I'm sorry.
Yeah, something made me think books, and he's doing. the
Oh,
same.
sorry, yeah, never mind, high school book was above that on the line.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so that report is so weird to read because of the way those lines break down. Yep.
always the, yeah.
Yeah, that would be probably the winter tuition.
Gotcha, okay. That was all I had.
I would not want to pay that much for books.
You can say something as a district head.
No, it's just my head.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, any other questions or discussion on the financial reports?
Make a motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the financial report and pay the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Superintendent report.
Awesome. I promised not to talk too terribly long because I get kind of long-winded. We've been doing a lot of work on planning for next year and staffing and making sure that we're properly staffed. I've been kind of emailing as we look at administrative positions with an administrative resignation, making sure that we're in the right boat on that. So just before we go out to hire for something, making sure that we are looking at everything. An interesting conversation that has come up with some schools in the area has been the topic of operational sharing. And I think at one point at a board meeting earlier in my short tenure here so far, we talked about, Lisa and I had shared the desire to maybe at some point find some operational sharing because of the financial benefit and the service benefit for the school. And we have some people who are wanting to talk to us about different things right now, so we're continuing to have those conversations with them. Had some of those conversations at our budget workshop last week, and I think there's some productivity happening there. In terms of hiring, I'm really happy to report that many of our open positions, our anticipated posting already have applicants, which is awesome, and even better, qualified applicants, which is really exciting, because as I talk to friends around the state, that is not very common. I think one that's a real celebration is 10 applicants for the ag job. And, while we, thank Joy for her years of service too, I think it's definitely good to thank Liz, because Liz was been in the district a long time, and she actually had resigned early in order to give us a lead on it. I mean, the incentive wasn't out yet when she put in, so I think it's awesome that she's helped Brad. I guess, I was a band teacher, and that world is real tight, and everybody knows who's doing a good job in band world out there. Apparently, the FFA and ag world are tight like that too, and there's been a lot of information shared on how people are doing and in their various places and what their numbers look like and everything, so that's really helpful. So thank you to her for helping on that. We have a construction meeting later this week, hoping to find out what the rest of spring looks like. Luckily, they've had some nice weather, and I think Aaron and I'll sit in there, and Lisa, and I think Kevin's coming.
I'll probably be there.
And, Mike typically goes, he may not be able to go, so.
I might come
He
in.
might come, that'd be good.
Okay.
It's always nice to have a couple board members there,
How
so.
is that?
1 o'clock Wednesday at the construction area.
Okay.
You
It's
thinking you might
about
want
a half hour.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Thank you.
And not to steal any thunder from Aaron ever, but I'm really happy Aaron is working the painting that we'll do. From this point forward, we'll use the colors that we've picked for the new high school, so that we will have some unified, this is the red we use in buildings, this is the white that we use in buildings, and we'll have unified colors throughout the district, and we can keep some paint on hand to be able to do touch-ups, because I think right now the challenge walking into Aaron's position is there's a few different white paints, for example, that have been used in some places. I think when we went on our tour of buildings, we saw a couple different colors in the hallway in one of the buildings, so the desire behind this is to make it real easy to say that's a white wall, we're gonna get the white paint, and we're gonna paint with that, so.
Usually doing things correctly doesn't get noticed, but when you do them wrong, it does get noticed.
Isn't that the thing? Yeah,
Like the 2 different shades of paint.
yeah. But the great news is that got fixed right away, and Aaron's Johnny on the spot, he takes care of stuff right when he sees it, so I'm real appreciative of that. And I think we're gonna have some good things out of this, so, that's my report for today.
Okay. All right.
Just a
Go
quick
ahead.
question,
Yeah.
those sharing agreements, those are usually 3 years?
Not necessarily. The terms that I've seen on some that I've kind of looked at, it's based, like there's an event that'll trigger, that would end a sharing agreement, like a board would vote to end that agreement, or, you can do them for multiple years like that, but, you don't have to necessarily. I do like the idea of having some, what do you call that? Security, some stability, because I think if you're gonna share something, you want that. But one thing that's been proposed to us might be a short-term thing to try to help get, somebody on their feet, that they've gotta train up and that we have some extra up, so. We'll just have to see, what kind of develops out of that. The thing that is big to me is that it not be anything that would get in the way of providing what we need for our kids. So I don't wanna share a staff member that we've got that's directly teaching kids and reduce the number of courses we could offer or anything. This would be more, operational items.
Part of the Indian Hills thing is they got a 3-year grant
Mhm.
they'll pay for, so that's what's driving the 3 years on that.
So actually, our first year will produce money but not pay out money, because the grant covers that. Or I think maybe we pay out a small amount, I can't remember what it says on year 1 there.
Where are we with our counselor position?
So it's posted, there are applicants, and, so right now Brad's working real hard on the ag position, and I think counselor's next on the list, I believe.
Will that be a job that's filled this year yet, or?
Well, won't be filled for this year, typically, somebody's probably still under contract somewhere, or finishing up classes or things like that, so, we'll probably still continue to work with the plan that we've got in place to work through this year. We are looking for, additional help wherever we can find it to help out.
Any other questions?
We get anywhere on the switchgear construction issue, or?
Hopefully to find out Wednesday.
That's what I'm hoping to hear, yeah,
We haven't heard, so that's not, usually we would have heard by now, so.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay. County Conference Board report, so this is something new. So if you remember when we started the school year, the board year, and we made all the appointments of all of these, to sit on these boards. One of the things I asked Lisa and Mark was, mostly Lisa, was, what are these boards, why are we on them, do we need to attend them? So she dutifully checked into that, and we actually got an agenda for a meeting for the county conference board, so I went to it. It's out at the courthouse. And I went in there, and I'll just tell you the brief story, because some of this does impact the district a little bit. I first asked, do I need to be here? And what is the purpose of this? And the answer was, yes, you need to be here, and the reason is because this board appoints the county assessor, which I thought was kind of weird. So, let me tell the whole story. The Board of Supervisors, the 3 of those are part of the county conference board. The county assessor is not elected. It's a higher position because they have certifications, and I would say a lot like an SBO, a lot like a superintendent. I'm not saying they have to be, I don't know if they have to be licensed, but they have to have certain credentials by the state to be an assessor. And so you can't just elect somebody into that position, you have to meet certain trade education and certifications. So,
Let me just jump in a minute. There was a time where there wasn't anybody in Appanese County that could pass that test.
Yeah.
There's a test they take.
Yeah. yeah, that's nice. So,
So we got a Bloomfield person.
So the county conference board gets together and they actually appoint the assessor. And so I'm sitting there thinking, why am I on this? Why is there somebody school board? And then it hit me, we're a taxing authority. And that has a direct correlation to property tax valuations and assessments. So all the school districts are supposed to appoint somebody, and I was like the first person from a school district to show up at one of those in who knows how long. And then somebody from all the cities, because city councils are, so Mike O'Connor was there and Richard Gordon from Plano was there. And they usually have a tough time getting a quorum, the meeting lasts like 5 minutes. And the purpose of the meeting was to set the budget for the county assessor's office. Okay. So why is that important to you guys? Well, there's some things I learned there that I think everybody on the board needs to understand, because we're about to go in, we're in budget season and we're gonna set a budget. Therefore, we're gonna set a tax levy assessment. We, as a board, make a vote to tax property owners, okay? So we set that rate. So if somebody comes and says, why are my taxes so high? Well, here's a couple of things that I found out from there. Number one, because this was part of the budget, they budgeted so much for legal expenses because Walmart is contesting their 2019 property tax value. The assessed value, this was a public meeting in there, so the property tax value is like $6.8 million for their new store. And they're contesting it, so they've hired their own assessor to come in and says it's only worth $4.2 million. The county hired an outside assessor, came and says it's worth $5.some million. They went to district court, the county assessor lost at district court. And the district court says, yeah, 4.2. So the county's now taken this case to the state appeals court. And so since this is a 2019 assessment that is still in kind of this legal thing in there, and what's happening is Walmart is, as I understand, is contesting property value assessments all over the state of Iowa. And what they're trying to do is pay less commercial property tax. Well, if they're successful, and there will be at least $1 million, maybe $2 or more million that will come off of Walmart's assessment, which means what you need to understand if people come up and says, why did my tax rate go up? Because whatever comes off of their commercial assessment is going to be transferred to that burden is going to be transferred to residential and to ag. It's got to go someplace because we're certainly not going to come and say, well, what we're losing as part of their loss or their reduction in assessment, we're not going to come in and say, gee, teachers take a cut in pay. Hey, Alliant Energy, we're paying less than utilities. Hey, we're not going to cut all those things. We're still going to fully fund education. And so if they got a lower assessment value, the dollars are going somewhere and it's getting shifted to residential, it's getting shifted to ag. So that's something that just to understand, because we have tried to tell, taxpayers at all public meetings, we're gonna hold our rate the same. Well, we don't know how much is this gonna impact us when it does. So just wanted everybody to be aware of that, is if you were asked about when we set the property tax levy, we don't set the valuation, I probably said that, and I should have said when we set the levy. That's just something that I want everybody to be aware of, that could come out and hit us, because that will probably affect the assessment for, quite a few years to come. The other thing that came out of that, there's some state legislation that is out there that is looking at reducing the assessed values for commercial, and there's something else, it wasn't ag, it was something else.
I know that's the big part.
But the big part is the commercial, is to reduce the commercial assessed value from, is it currently at 90% and it's gonna go to 80%? So whatever there's gonna be a 10% reduction in the valuation that you can assess against. Well, again, counties are gonna fully fund their counties, schools are gonna fund their schools, cities are gonna fund their cities. And what the legislature is doing is taking the burden off of commercial property values. It has to go somewhere. It's gonna go on residential and it's gonna go on ag. And that's what's happening in the state legislature right now. And to me, oh my God, we're live streaming, so do I really want to say this? To me, it's something that the legislator is the highest governmental authority in the state, therefore they can set the rules that the rest of us have to abide by. And to me, they're gonna be able to go out and look at all the commercials as, we have lowered your property tax. Well, no, they're not lowering the property tax. What they're doing is they're pushing the burden off onto somebody else. And I just think that is just politically, it's political games and I don't like it, so. I learned all that in the county conference board.
In 5 minutes?
The meeting actually took about 15, Bob. It should have taken 5, but I asked 10 minutes worth of questions. So as you go through here, these are things because Mark and Lisa and I talked to our state rep this morning about some different legislations, and this is one of those things that as a board member, you kind of have to understand what's going on, because these are decisions made by another level of government that impacts what we do and what we end up looking people in the eyes in the grocery stores and wherever we see them on the streets. And we're setting a property tax value and saying, this is why it's gonna go up, because, commercial's gonna pay less. and there's nothing we can do about it. So, we're made the bad guys on that, because they can claim that they reduce property taxes, but at the same time, we set the levy rate. It's a game, and I don't like it. You can quote me on that, AJ. So, Kevin doesn't like it. Any questions on that? Does everybody understand that kind of stuff?
I'm just surprised 2019, and there's not been more about that out in the world. About Walmart with their tax valuation. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard it, so.
They have good PR people that prevent that from getting.
Bury it.
But I just think, because as we're setting levy rates, I want everybody to understand that. I don't think that case is gonna be probably in time to hit this levy, but probably next year's levy that'll hit us, so. Okay. I don't have anything else. Time for board takeaways, and I tell you what, this might be a little hard one, so it's, because it's a kind of a quick meeting, we'll see what you guys come up with, but what did you learn tonight? What do you need to learn more about, or what do you think the board needs to think about? And Chris, you're up, we're gonna go this way around.
Cool.
Yeah, I knew the first person would like this, because I know exactly what it's gonna be.
Well, I don't wanna take two things. I mean, I really appreciate you going to the county conference board meeting. I appreciate that part of it, and I learned quite a bit from just your little discussion. I talked to somebody today about the trap shooting, team, and, it sounds like they could use some more money somehow. I don't know how we do it, whether they do more fundraising. They have 73 kids. That's a lot of kids. They only get to shoot one round of clays a week. They'd like to shoot
It's
two.
1 round 25,
Yeah, they'd like to shoot two, which,
so it's all the cost of all that. It's
yeah,
better.
and from what I understand, they're getting help from Pheasants Forever on some of that.
Have them come and make a presentation. I don't know what their total budget is and how much more budget they want.
Their activity budgets,
What?
their activity.
Right.
And isn't, is Joy the trap shooting coach?
Liz.
Liz is-
Liz is, okay.
And
She's remaining in that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes,
say
she's
she
staying,
is.
yes,
Yeah.
she's staying.
But, okay, what is amazing, there's 73 kids in that
Yeah.
program.
That's, yeah,
Wow.
that's more than football.
It's amazing.
That's crazy. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, the other thing I talked to them about today was, they're using the football trailer to house and haul their guns. Well, they've got to take all the racks and stuff out
Mhm.
when, for football, so they can use the same trailer.
Yeah.
Do they just have a season part-time through the year, or are they doing this consistently throughout the year?
I don't know that answer, but I'm pretty sure it's a season.
Or just a season, or is it all year?
I can follow up.
I'm pretty sure it's just a season.
Pretty sure it's just spring.
Early spring,
Just early spring, okay.
just so pretty cold.
This is that's a good thing to bring up, because we had the esports in here, and we've talked about how we fund esports, and so this may be a big challenge for the board, is how do we fund activities, because one of the things that we're talking about is have an activity for, an extracurricular activity for every kid to be included in something.
Yep.
And so this will become a funding issue, and the board may have to set some priorities, and of course, Lisa's gonna keep us straight on how we fund activities.
You don't. For your general fund.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're-
for the general fund, no, you,
We can't use general fund.
no.
And they're not considered a sport, am I right? It's more of a club.
I'd have to ask that. I've got a whole bunch of trap shooting questions on my to-do list from this week, so.
I mean, this might be something that we have to, kind of ask the booster club to step up and say, can you help do this kind of stuff? Because,
But we could use general funds to build a football field and a soccer field, and
No, we didn't use general fund.
we did,
no, we use bonds.
that's right, okay.
But this is, and maybe this is just a good, have to sit down with the booster club and say, the landscape of extracurricular activities in high school is changing, it's getting more non-traditional.
And you know what, I will say, I think Rich and our booster club have worked really hard. I mean, the fact that they're accelerating it for esports a little bit here.
Yeah,
I think they're really working to try to be ahead of that game
Yeah.
and stay with it, so.
I mean, I appreciate what they're doing for us, but it's,
It may be that they've already had some of these conversations, and I just need to get with Rich and find out more.
but I'm glad you brought it up, because we do need to try and figure out what can we do, and I'm not sure it's necessarily, it can't be general funds, how do you support your activities? A lot of it comes through, and this is one of the downsides of something like trap shooting is, you know, what's the gate revenue for an event? I mean, I would say that probably the biggest gate revenue is across every other school district at every other level, at every university, it's gonna be basketball, it's gonna be football and basketball.
I think that, I talked to Liz's husband today, I'm pretty sure that it's like $85 a person for this, I don't know if it's just all the meets or if it's the state meet or what it is, but it's $85 a person, times 73,
It's a lot of money, yeah.
that's a lot.
That's only for those who's,
Whoever, yeah, well,
73 are gonna qualify for state.
no, I don't know if that was for state or if that's for regular, I can't imagine it's for a regular, trap shooting tournament. I imagine that's probably state, so it's not gonna be 73, but.
I think you can go to state if you want to go participate.
Why do you say that?
Well, my stepdaughter,
So you don't think you have to?
Well, there you go.
oh, I
You don't think you have to qualify?
don't think so.
Well, that'd be a long day. Imagine how many kids there would be.
It's a long day, and they shoot 125 or 50.
At least 5 rounds, right?
All right, so we need to learn more about the trap shooting world.
I just wrote down, can we organize getting trap shooting in for one of our district accomplishments?
Yeah.
Positives.
Let's learn some more about that one, so, perfect. That's,
Why do you ask, what's the difference between a sport and an activity? Why would there be a difference?
In terms of with the booster club, how the fundraising works and everything.
a club has to be a club for 3 years before it gets booster funding. That's the booster club, kind of how they work, so. All right, so that's a great thing that falls in the category of things we need to kind of learn more about, so.
My guess is there's some answers to some of those questions already though, because that's been popular for quite a while now.
Okay, Derek,
73 kids.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. No, definitely some things to brush up on. Again, is the funding silos for me. I'm still, going through some of this stuff. So that's, I'm still spending time on the website, still trying to make heads and tails, so it's one of those, just kind of trying to get some time committed to get up here with you guys and go over some of that. But really biggest, takeaway is a thank you to the staff members that did provide the early notice. And again, for Joy with her retirement again, congratulations on that, as well as Liz. She'll still be with the trap, but be hard shoes to fill. I'm within the ag program here, so that's my takeaway. Thank you to those that gave us the jump start to try to get some new shoes in the classrooms.
all right, Mr. Bob.
I'm gonna go a little bit differently. I think we all appreciate Mark sending out that Sunday night notice to all of us. And reading that, I've come to realize when legislators propose legislation, some of which doesn't have a chance at any way of getting passed, but how much time they gotta spend figuring out how's that gonna affect our budget. And I guess I'm kind of teed off to realize how much, that's taking time away from their real job or something. I don't know what the vocabulary is there, but it does take time. I mean, I guess I didn't ever think about that before.
Phil, I'm assuming I'm speaking with the word, Phil, a lot more in tune to what's going on in the district with those Sunday night emails. That's awesome.
Glad those are hitting well.
You wanna bring up the card you wanted that everybody got? Let's talk about that real quick.
You guys get this in the mail from the School Board Association. I got it today. But there's some, look at that, because there's this is Thursday, Friday in April, but it's about a summit on student success And there's this simulation you're gonna go through about understanding poverty simulation and real world learning, but it just looked like stuff that somebody in the board should be aware of in the future. Integrated computer science, addressing essential needs through career tech exploration. I guess we're working on that. Portrait of a graduate moving from vision to reality. And look, we don't spend much time on this board talking about curriculum. And we vaguely do that, I guess, probably, but this looks like good stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Ankeny at the,
28th,
What,
so the 28th of April.
April 27th and 28th,
it's on the
Thursday,
DNX
Friday.
campus, real nice facility. So if anybody can make it, just probably need to get registered for it soon.
Those are some good topics.
Yeah. Are you guys watching that, the speaker we had at the School Board Association and that parent thing? We watch that every week. That's kind of
Yeah.
more interesting than I thought it would be. I forget about it sometimes, I think, probably, but you kind of get some insight on how to parent, I think, probably.
That's streaming on something now too, isn't it?
What is it?
I think
I
it's.
thought I saw something on our,
Yeah, the cool thing is when the show's actually on, in commercial breaks, he'll be on Facebook Live. And so, him and I, we're best friends now because he'll give me a shout out once in a while. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I keep track of them on Facebook too.
pretty cool
Yeah.
to be able to interact.
I'm really glad to hear that.
that's really awesome.
Okay, Tim?
Well, we were talking about the extracurriculars and between the clubs and athletics. Something that I kind of realized this year with my daughter, she played on a basketball team. And it was, a parent kind of set it up and got some people engaged. Well, we go with play teams and Hedrick. You can listen, well, we don't, I know their team was, maybe there was a sixth grade girls team too. But I think if we want to push for success in the future, we need to, I don't know that the school necessarily needs to be responsible for it, but if we could encourage maybe some parents that could help or something.
And what were the parents doing again?
They kind of help set up this team. So then we go as the Centerville
So
team,
it's a traveling.
like a little traveling thing, but we go, I think Davis County, we're supposed to go there, but it snowed that.
So this was at what grade level is this?
Fourth and fifth.
Oh, okay, got it.
And I don't know, I think there's enough,
Parents,
Yeah, parents
parents
should be-
agree to travel.
but I think if we could help formulate it,
Yeah.
because I think, they're learning how to dribble and stuff at that age, and if we're waiting to start at, what, seventh grade? We're behind a lot of the other schools, and I don't know if we could ever catch up.
That club ball is a big deal. Club ball is
Yeah.
really good. Our daughter did club volleyball before. And that was-
That's something the Y used to do.
Yeah.
And the Y they would organize all the teams and everything like that.
And they have some activities too, like our boys did the basketball this year and,
I coached basketball for several of my kids.
So, we tried to do the football, we were late signing up this year, and there was at least 4 or 5 other families that were late, and they absolutely refused to take our money and let them play,
That's too bad.
so.
So I have an email to reach out to those gals and they were hoping to sit down, maybe talk about some things that we can help grow some of that, so that.
But I think it's something, if we could just kind of formulate it, I think it would benefit our kids, and maybe the more kids that are able to play too, we could raise the floor,
Yeah,
and I don't know, just a thought.
that's good.
Yeah, and I think that the goal is to get kids involved, not necessarily having a farm club, but a farm system, but, there would be probably some benefits in success in the games, but I think it's just getting kids in activities.
Goes right to that same philosophy, right? If kids are involved, then they're connected, and we talk about the positive childhood experiences, research, and how
Yeah.
that connection to something in the community is so important.
I think there's enough kids in the community that we wouldn't necessarily have to be running all over the place.
Right.
We could
Have something,
play on a Saturday here.
or even if it's with,
But we need enough involvement.
with surrounding communities, playing some things too. so.
Though some of that can be fun too, going out and about.
Yeah, so, okay, perfect. As for me, there's a couple things, there's a couple people that haven't turned in their ISB takeaway, if you just get those into, if you haven't already done this, just a reminder, please go ahead and do that. Something that I don't think it's gonna happen in 2 weeks, so I don't wanna put a building principal in panic mode in 2 weeks. Okay, Yeah, I just don't wanna do that to
Yeah,
somebody,
thank
but.
you, that's good.
But what we want to do is between now and the end of the school year, because when you start thinking about, it, we've got March, April, May work sessions, we've already got a February work session. And in May, so there's 3 more months of the academic year, May, we usually don't do a work session because it's so close to graduation. But I would like to have a work session meeting in each one of the buildings, one in Lakeview, one in Howard, and one in the high school. And so, that's what I'm talking to Mark about, is so that we would actually meet there. The format for a work session would be, if we have to do any business, we do it pretty quickly. And then we would have, if there's any regular business we have to do. And then we kind of turn it over to that building principal and to Mark, and they, just kind of showcase the building, what's going on. So I think the video that Terry did the other day was awesome, to kind of see some of how that teach was going. So let them kind of showcase the building to us, and then we'll make a quick tour, so that, Aaron, because we did this in the summer, which has led to this list of getting things done, is, this is what the plan is over the next couple of years to work on this building from an infrastructure standpoint. Because part of this comes from, we're putting like $28 million over the course of 5 years, whatever the number is, into the buildings. Let's have a long-term plan to maintain them at a high level. And instead of getting a summer project list in May, let's have a long-term facilities plan of what we're gonna do. So we know in this wing, in this building, we're gonna replace all the ceiling tiles in 2024. We know we're gonna do this, and it's all scheduled, we know when we're gonna do that, and we're gonna regularly maintain the buildings, and we're gonna take care of the infrastructure that we're asking taxpayers to fund. We're just gonna have a long-term plan, so we don't get caught into, we have to do everything in a short period of time again. And so, just so you guys know, I wanna do a work session in each one of the buildings and see them. If we do that in March, April, May, that means the May, we would either have to have a work session the following week, or we may just have a regular meeting and a work session and one long meeting in May. And so just kind of think about that. So, I appreciate what everybody's doing. For the board, I'll tell you that the quality of the takeaways has improved over time, the engagement of things. I just couldn't be more proud of you guys as school board meeting members to, the level that we're taking this district to. I'm pretty excited for the future of the district, so that's kind of my takeaway. And we have now been here 47 minutes. We're done. Fastest meeting ever, and I think we can blame long meetings on the 2 mics.
I have one more question.
Go ahead. Or Aaron, go ahead.
Superintendent evaluation, we're gonna do that at the next meeting?
It's,
Because weren't you gonna give us your
That is
self-eval,
scheduled for the work session in March, I think.
Oh.
your self-evals, and then we're gonna do our own?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I just wanna make sure
It won't be
I'm-
it won't be the work session in February, it'll be the work session in March, I think we've got that down for,
We'll have to work on the schedule if we do that in the building.
yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
We'll be able to do a Zoom work session in those 3 buildings or not?
So, that's a good question, and here's what I checked into was, we can do this, and we can actually have part of the work session be a walking tour of the building. It's completely within the confines of an open meeting. Any member of the public can come to it. Any member of the public can come and walk through that, as long as we're not doing a closed session thing. And they can follow along with all of that. And the fact that it's a work session, we're not gonna be making decisions, right? So we can do that. It's very difficult to do a Zoom unless AJ wants to have a handheld stick camera following us all the way, we probably would not Zoom from here, but if AJ and the pitch wanted to come and do that, they'd be certainly welcome to come and be part of that and live stream that. But if we do a work session in the building, I don't think as a district, we're gonna go and set up the equipment to do that. That's a lot to do.
Right.
And what would be nice to do is to get the habit of being in each building at least one throughout the school year. We're just getting late start getting it done this year, so we're gonna do them back to back.
I got one more thing.
Okay.
Mark came and talked to the retired teachers or retired school personnel, I guess, and that's Wayne County, it happened in Hughes County, but it was mostly Centerville people. But they wanted to know about this new addition, and I was amazed how uninformed they were. You would think retired teachers would, but they oohed and ahhed about the silliest.
It made me feel
I
kind
shouldn't
of
say
good,
that.
actually.
So their excitement
I
about it.
felt pretty
Well,
good.
we're not doing a good job of letting people have information, is my first thought. I mean,
We did just put out an update. I will tell you, I've been slower than I wanted to be with updates. This fall has just kind of, there's been a lot on our plate this fall,
Right.
and I want to get back to that. Speaking, you know, we got AJ on the recording there. He and I had talked about maybe when it's appropriate, when the ground isn't completely a muddy mess, maybe toss on some hard hats and doing a quick video tour,
that's
potentially of the
that's
grounds.
a good idea.
Things like that, Aaron and I Aaron took pictures for us to include in that update. I wrote a letter, I counted on my editor at home to check to make sure it sounded good. And then we uploaded that with Aaron's pictures, and we'll continue to do more of that as we get more things done. I think as we get some footings down for the gym area, we'll probably put some more pictures out there.
I think they're starting that,
Is that what that was there?
I think they're starting that, here.
So we'll probably look to get some pictures of that and get that out to people. Now that we've got some interesting stuff, you know, the ground, I'll admit, I struggled to figure out how to make the leveling the ground look terribly interesting in a letter, so. Now I'm getting a little better at it.
Yeah, all right. Good stuff happening these days. I appreciate the hard work that everybody's putting into it, so. Appreciate Cameron, you getting this set up for us tonight. You got anything for us, Aaron, since you're here?
No,
Okay, appreciate you being here, appreciate everything you're doing, the direction you're taking on facilities for the district. Lisa, thank you, Mark, thank you. With that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn, everybody, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I-
Aye, all opposed? Thank you.